Hello everyone, my name is Danny. This video is for a review for Avengers Endgame. This is a 2019 film, obviously. It's rated PG-13. It does run 3 hours. It's directed by Anthony Russo. Stars Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Mark Ruffalo, Chris Hemsworth, Scarlett Johansson, and many other people. This is the story of the fourth installment in the Avengers saga. It's the culmination of 22 interconnected Marvel films and the climax of an epic journey. The world's greatest heroes will finally understand just how fragile our reality is and the sacrifices that must be made to uphold it. In a story of friendship, teamwork, and setting aside differences to overcome an impossible obstacle. This is Avengers Endgame. Well, I'm going to spend a couple minutes firstly to just talk because I think it's important to say. Anybody that's watching this video, this is Monday after when Endgame came out. I saw it on Saturday. I'm making my video on Monday. A lot of people honestly are still seeing this movie today. Like it's their first time on Monday. We had some people see it early on last Tuesday, almost a week ago, and some people saw it Thursday, the first night, but that gets expensive for the normal American public or the worldly public. And so a lot of people are waiting till now to see it. So every single person out there that does reviews online and released something last Tuesday or Friday or over the weekend, I don't know what you're doing. This is like the biggest movie of all time as far as superheroes go. Why could we not just not come to an understanding to wait until Monday to make a review? That's my first thing. So I'm being smart in that way, and I'm waiting. I'm not gonna spoil anything for anybody, but I cannot believe how many reviews of I follow a lot of different people on YouTube, and why people would release spoiler videos and review videos over the last couple days when people haven't even seen the movie yet. They're not gonna watch your video if they're not gonna see the movie yet. This is the biggest epic movie of all time. I just don't understand people's logic. So that's my first thing. That's out of the way. My second thing is the feel of this movie. I did sit through the 3 hours without having to go to the bathroom. I think a lot of people can pull off that feat. Um, this almost feels like a sequel. And I don't know how many people out there are using that term, but it felt like it to me because of the anticipation, because of the push on it, because, you know, everybody involved with it pretty much was in the last one with the Avengers and everything. And, you can say this is a culmination movie, like the review says, the story part of the thing I just read. Culmination's fine, but it really does feel like a sequel a lot. And with the way it starts, it just is so simple of a situation that it almost like lets you down right away. Like, within the first 15 minutes, you're like, oh, okay, well, where are we going to go from here? And so, it kind of starts to not feel like a culmination and more like a sequel with the first thing that happens. So you can feel how you want about the first 15 minutes, but I was pretty darn disappointed and I could rip this movie apart with my analysis. So I think the next thing to talk about is just it's a nice little thing to say with everybody involved with this movie. It's great, that it has such a big cast and it can incorporate so many different superheroes, even if they're just for comedy purposes or just to feel bad for another thing that's happening. It doesn't really matter how they're incorporated, but the fact that they get incorporated. And I like how they handle pretty much the whole movie with everybody involved. Obviously, they had to have 3 hours. And so I think that it was handled accurately and professionally of a movie. I would say that I could have used more laughs. Like I wasn't expecting Thor Ragnarok kind of funny the whole time, but I was expecting maybe it to not self identify itself as such a serious film. Like we've had Logan, we've had The Last Planet of the Apes, we've had serious movies. X-Men really feels like that all the time. And Endgame here, it gets to be feeling very serious. And that's fine, but for 3 hours, it's just a little too tense. And I think that they could have had a different mindset about how to go about things. So I'll just generally say my opinion of the ending is that I think a lot of people will be talking about this for years to come. I think that's an obvious statement. And I think that talking about it for years to come will be, did it make sense? What doors is it opening for from now on? Because I think the culmination opinion around me in my circle, in my part of the country of USA, is that this is going to be like the starting point for the future. Like everything that happens with superhero movies from now on will be based off of what happened here in Endgame. It has to make sense. It has to build. Somebody has to have a reason to go forward, you know. And if you're gonna change, an actor for a character somewhere along the way, this is why. It's because of what happened in Endgame. So, um, I would say about the twist. I'm not gonna say what the twist is because I know there's gonna be a lot of people. There were millions and millions of people that went and saw this movie in the last couple of days. There's going to be people left that haven't seen it. So I'm not going to give away the thing in this movie that we all were waiting for. We wanted to find out. I'm not going to give it away. This is the thing I'll say about it is that I think that they could have gone a different way. The thing that I've been seeing online and been talking about with friends is that this whole Doctor Strange thing. Like we were talking about this movie, since last year. It's like it's got to be about Doctor Strange, and it's really not. Like it's just like the thing with him in Avengers last year was that Doctor Strange saw how many ways this could have happened, that they could defeat Thanos. So for a year, the worldwide public has been thinking about those 4 million ways that Doctor Strange saw where they get defeated, and then he saw one situation that works. We've been thinking about it for a year about how this could all go down. And I'm sure there was creative ways and really dark ways that people came up with, that this movie could happen. My personal opinion about this, and I hope it's not too unpopular, I think it was a really cop out way of handling the movie. When I found out what the twist is, I was a little disappointed. I'm just going to say this out loud because I just got done watching the Orville final episode for season 2, and it's like almost the same thing as Avengers Endgame. And it's really funny that they kind of happened at the same week in history because they both had to deal with the same issue. And I just can't believe it. Like they're both kind of space things, that people enjoy. They're kind of funny, and they both have the same element in their finale. It's just weird, you know. I mean, I've been having a very weird feeling around me the last couple days that the Orville season finale and Avengers Endgame have the same element. So I'm not gonna like belittle anything with graphics. That was all awesome. I'm not gonna say anybody was horrible acting. I think that the people that were in the movie last year, if they get a chance to act whatsoever, then they could be better. And I think Ant Man maybe was almost the star of this movie just because of what he brought to it with the comedy and the thinking and the braveness. And I really appreciate Ant Man a lot more after watching Endgame here. So I think we're all going to have a lot of feelings about this movie. I wish other YouTube reviewers would just have taken a couple days, you know, to gather their feelings. I think I'm going to watch some reviews and some people are going to be very emotional and sarcastic and they're not going to know what they're talking about because they didn't arrange their thoughts. And so I'm glad I arranged my thoughts for a couple days. And my final opinion is that we all should appreciate what happened here. Avengers Endgame was a movie to do some things that we're not going to really know right now. And later, you know, 10 years from now, we're going to look back on this movie and say, oh my gosh, yeah, that happened. And then now they're doing this movie. That makes a lot of sense, you know? And we're going to wonder, you know, how many different effects this movie is going to cause. So I'm a little disappointed for a certain movie franchise that I enjoy, and I don't know if it's going to have anywhere to go after Endgame, but that's just hopefully not giving away too much, also. Excuse me. um, I think that this movie was really crazy. I can't say I'm going to want to watch it too many more times, probably because of the 3 hour situation. But for me, I mean, literally, a lot of people watch every single superhero movie that comes out, right? I try to watch all of them. I haven't cared to watch Shazam yet, and I will watch other movies that are kind of off brand. But I just didn't like the feel of this movie, and I think it could have been done so much better considering the circumstances of being this epic conclusion. I can't talk about every single thing now, but I know we will in the future for people near me. And I hope you talk to your friends and family in the future about what all happened in this movie. And so I know I'll have to watch it a couple more times in my life, but I just don't know how much I enjoyed it. I think it was really cool to be a part of, the millions and millions of theaters that sold out, and I was one of them. Is a great feeling. But I just don't know how much of the movie I really enjoyed. So I'm gonna give Avengers Endgame a B plus, and I don't really care what anybody says because I'm gonna stick to that. That it's not the best superhero movie I've ever seen. It's just not. It's not exciting. It doesn't keep the action moving. It takes forever to set up this thing because it is a big thing, but it takes forever. Literally like an hour and a half. And then, what happens after that? You can find out for yourself. But for a movie to do this, like when other movies do this, we badger them, we tear them apart. And so I'm not going to let Endgame off the hook here. And I'm just going to tell you that I officially give it a B plus because I just there are so many times in this movie where I was wondering what they're doing, why they were doing it, and how they could have been doing it better. And that's my lasting remark. A B plus for Avengers Endgame. Thanks a lot, guys. My name's Danny. If you like this or any of my other videos, try and give something to watch. Like and subscribe to my channel if you would. And I hope you enjoyed Avengers Endgame. And try and enjoy the rest of your movies also. Thanks a lot, guys.